this topic is about CIA. Don't get confused with the US organization CIA. You can call it CIA, or some books you may find it AIC. That is, it stands for, it's an acronym of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So whenever we talk about security, security is measured on three fronts. So yeah, Didi go. So confidentiality, integrity, and availability, these are the three primary goals of cybersecurity. So what is confidentiality? Confidentiality means that no unauthorized person or process should be able to access your data. Let's take an example. A, B. A is sending $100 to B. Suppose you are doing this transaction in clear text. So there is a hacker here. He can easily see what you are sending and also can see account details. This is a threat to confidentiality. Similarly, for example, my mobile, it's not password protected. If it's a family who sees that, fine. But suppose there is some guest at my place, I went out of the room, that person see my personal things on the mobile. That is again a threat to confidentiality. Okay. So what are the different threats to confidentiality? Intentional attack. Like one I have explained it to you, that person sitting in between with the help of technology. There is a technology or program called Wireshark, or we also call it a sniffing tool, with the help of which you can read the traffic. Okay, packet man in the middle, packet sniffing, or even hacking. Accidental leakages. I told you everything is not always deliberately done. Suppose a person, an untrained employee, sent a confidential data in a clear text format, or he has shared with a person who is not authorized to get that information. That is what accidental leakage. Hardware or software failures. Like, for example, there is a printer which has been decommissioned. You know, printer, when you give command to the printer store that information into the RAM and a memory. When your printer is decommissioned, you should sanitize it properly, but you forget to do that, and in that case, the data may be released to unauthorized parties. Like, for example, you take printouts or photocopies of your Aadhaar card number. I don't know about in Australia what you have. What you have, like equivalent of Aadhaar in Australia, you must be having something.
It's TIN. Correct me, Patsy, if I'm wrong. It's taxation identification number or tax identification number.
Okay, so suppose you got it. So suppose you got a printout of it, which you have to share it with your uh, someone, like submit it for anything, visa and all that. Suppose sometimes you take multiple copies of it, and when you're not using it, you have to throw it off. So you tear it down properly so that it doesn't goes into wrong hand, and someone doesn't get hold of your number in order to prevent a misuse. That is hardware or software improper media sanitization. Authentication and authorization failures. Okay, like I have my own Google Drive where I have where I have a lot of folders available. And even one folder is a personal folder where my passwords are also stored on a not a Google Drive, but there are some KDB file is stored. You can't do anything unless until you know a password, but that is also there. So if I accidentally disclose that or share it with people, then that's an authorization failure. We have given, there is a concept of least privilege and need to know. What is need to know? Look, I know take batches for CISA, CISM, CISSP, CCSP, CompTIA Security Plus, SSCP. Okay, so here I'm only teaching you the basics of it. I know a lot of stuff, but did I provide that information? Am I providing and covering that information with you? No. I'm only giving you that much information which you need to know. The best example of need to know is an email. When you send an email, do you copy everyone there? No, you don't copy everyone. You only copy those with whom you want to share the information. So that is need to know. Least privilege, it's more related to rights. Give only that much rights which is required by a person to do the job. If a person is a L1 engineer, level 1 engineer who only needs access to the read only, who only needs read only access, provide read only access. If he needs privileged access, give privileged access. So these are different threats to confidentiality. We'll cover in more detail as we progress further. So following are some of the countermeasures to ensure confidentiality. One is encryption, where we encrypt the data. Encryption is a process of converting a data into a form that only authorized person can read. So we'll cover encryption in detail with you. Then access controls, like laptop. I cannot access my laptop unless I enter my PIN code. That is access control. Administrative policies. You make people sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, so that they don't disclose information to unauthorized people. We'll cover these, don't worry. Then we have any questions till now on confidentiality?
No.
Then we have integrity. Let's take an example, same example, A, B. You are sending $100. Person hacker is sitting in between. He has not only read the data, but also add extra zero to it. So you will end up paying $900 extra. That is what integrity is. And unauthorized tampering or modification of data. It's not always deliberate. Sometimes in ignorance also things happens. Like for example, it is always advisable to not have microwave electric motor near the cables because it can temper the data, modify the data. So what are the threats you have? Intentional alteration, viruses, worms, when it infects your system, it tends to change the properties of a file, modifies the file. Accidental modification, like lack of input validation or training. Like for example, what is input validation? Which is very important, control. What is control? You will hear about this word quite often in this training. Controls are the countermeasures. Like I'm having a blood pressure and diabetic. So what I am using, I'm having a pill every day to control. So controls are the countermeasures. Same concept is applicable in your security also. Input validation. Let's take an example. A software. Look, input validation. What is input validation? Simplest manner. We all live in our homes. There are doorbell outside. Someone wants to enter. He will press the doorbell. You might have camera, or you will go out or peep out of the door to see who's there outside. What you're doing? You're doing input validation. Same thing. Application process takes input, process input, and give you an output. Correct? So if you give bad input, malicious input, in okay, so this malicious input will be if in that so software validates the input that you are inputting into the system in order to ensure that malicious data deliberately or in ignorance or accidentally is not being feed into the system. So that is what input validation is. So absence of input validation. Let's take an example. You are working, you are filling a form of a bank. Okay. And at the same time, you are working on some file, cut, copy, paste. So you are copying the data from one file to another. You have copied a data, a 500 words into on a in a one instance. That is for copying it into another file. But accidentally you you paste it on your form field. In the absence of that form, in the absence of valid input validation in that form field, that 500 words will be accepted into the system. And definitely in a system, it has a memory allocated, definitely with designated memory allocated, and it's a limited memory allocated. So your system has accepted more data which it can handle, and that will, like for example, so this it led to one attack called buffer overflow. Like for example, you have 8 people who can live into your house, who can stay in your house, but you didn't realize it. Someone who is not aware of it, he has allowed family of 15 people to come and stay for a day. So these 15 people will start encroaching your space also. So that's why input validation is important. Then environmental factors. As I clearly mentioned, that it is always advisable to not have motors, electric motors, all that near where the cable is being passed through, because it can have a negative impact. Then system malfunction, improper system configuration. So these are some of the ways in which integrities can be tempered. And this has a very negative impact. If you remember in 2020, during the COVID, I remember there was an outage in WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. And it was said that someone, it was due to some routing change that was configured. It was due to some change that was configured. So we have to be very, very careful about it. Okay, about the changes. Then how you can protect it? Hashing. Hashing, I will cover that later on. But in simple words, if I talk about how that works, hashing is an algorithm, means a rule which you apply it to the data. Hashing is an algorithm which takes, just like suppose hashing is a mathematical algorithm which takes variable length data as an input. Okay, variable length data as an input and give you fixed length digest as an output. Suppose, for example, this is my book. I will input it into hashing algorithm. A digest is created, ABC. Okay. Now I have I have not read that book for long. Now after 2 months, and it's a handwritten book with pencil. After 2 months, I felt like reading that book again. And I want to check whether the book has not been tampered or not. So I will input the book into hashing algorithm again. Again, our digest is created. The digest which you have created for the first time and the digest which you have created right now, you will check it. If they're same, it has not been tampered. Hope that is clear. I will cover that in more detail. Is it clear? So, like for example, another example, when you download, sometimes there is a requirement to install a operating system or a patch, and that you download it from the vendor website. Sometimes that patch gets tempered or corrupt during transit. So when you are, so vendor always mention the checksum or a hash value in their websites. And when you download it, there are tools with the help of which you calculate the hash value. If the hash value mentioned in the website and right now that you have calculated is they are same, it has not been tampered. Checksum is also kind of that kind of thing only. Then database integrity, like this is to ensure the integrity of a database. I will cover that when I will cover database integrity with you. So hope that is clear, the hashing part. We will cover that when we will do cryptography. So as I told you, this is security. So although I will cover basics, but yes, when we will do cryptography, there will be technical things coming up. So this course will be a good testing ground for yourself. Okay. Okay. Then availability, the next one. Availability ensure that data should be available to the user in a timely manner. Okay. Like, for example, I'm taking this class. I wanted to ensure that when you're working, you give a damn, okay, you have one laptop, then you have one internet connection, your job is done. But I've been taking online classes since 2015. All my power plugs are connected to internet, means your inverter supplies. And I have three internet connections, and all of them are connected to inverter supply. So even if there are power failures, my class is not interrupted. Although in Delhi, it's a capital city, not much power losses, okay, power fluctuations. But I have a 1500 kVA inverter plus two backups, two batteries, so that I don't face any issues. So why I have done these things? To make sure that I'm available to the users in a timely manner. So what are the attacks you face? Malicious attacker, DDoS or DOS. DOS stands for denial of service, and DDoS means distributed denial of service. Let's understand with the help of what is DOS. Like, suppose I'm teaching you here, and I'm teaching you here, and there is a competitor of mine who doesn't want me to teach you. He start asking me unnecessary questions. The time will come when I will say, fine, I'm done. I can't teach you. This happened with me once. I was taking it there. It was the beginning of my CSSP career. I was taking my fourth or fifth CSSP class. At that time, I was not paid very much. Okay, like 25, 30,000 for whole course. So I was taking a class in Gurgaon. It was a class of 10 people. It was not like that lady was deliberately didn't want it to teach you, but she was asking my unnecessary questions, annoying me. मेरे दिमाग में है भाई 20,000 25,000 में इतना ही चलेगा मैं नहीं सोऊंगा. So I was like समझा लो otherwise I'm going out. I will not teach you. So these things happened sometimes. But yes, suppose there is a person who doesn't want me to teach you. He start asking me unnecessary questions. That time will come when I will say, fine, I am done. That is denial of service. So there are two terms, denial of service and distributed denial of service. Let's understand the difference with the help of analogy. Have you seen Mr. Bean? देखा है? Mr. Bean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thin and lean guy. If you have been asked to knock him down, you can knock him down alone. correct? Same is the case with denial of service. When you are targeting a small system, not a very high capacity system, you can bring it down by using connections or resources of one machine itself. That is denial of service. Have you seen Rock, Dwayne Johnson, the wrestler? Correct? Welcome to the jungle.
Yes, sir.
So can you knock him down alone? No. You need at least 8 to 10 friends of yours to control him. That is distributed denial of service. What you do, how it works. First, you compromise a machine or a server machine. You make it a DDoS master. And then with this DDoS master, you compromise another machine. And then you use this machine to launch an attack. It's like a sleeper cells. Sorry for the bad example, sleeper cells. The the handlers, they hire people first, they hire a handler. The handlers hire people from the sleeper cell. They remain dormant, mix up and mingled up with your factor with society. And whenever they want them to launch an attack or do something, they send a message through, they send a cryptic message, and then they all wake up and do the things that they are asked to do. So in case of Rock, you need to launch an attack simultaneously. 8 to 10 friends of had to launch an attack simultaneously. That is DDoS attack. System failures like power outages, internet downtimes, etc. Device or system failures like system crashes. All of a sudden, my system crash. Then environmental issues like fire, earthquake, tornadoes, etc. Then for how you can provide protection. Ensure high availability. Like as I told you, if you talk about me, I have 3 laptops. On each and every laptops, I have Google Drive configured. I have OneDrive configured. If my laptop gives me an issue, I can easily switch within 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. 5 minutes, yes, is the time will I take, and I can take the class. Correct? So have clusters, 2 or more devices working together. Backup procedure, take backups regularly. And there are security devices like firewalls, intrusion prevention system, web application firewall, which can provide protections against DDoS attacks. Look, CIA is like every organization, the importance of this CIA depends on organization to organization. Like, for example, if there is a government organization, for them, this is if there is a government organization, it is important. If for them, confidentiality is important. If there is a financial organization, confidentiality and integrity both are important. But if you look at me, a trainer, I give a damn to confidentiality. I'm least bothered about it. What I'm interested in is availability. If you see, all of my controls are around availability. 3 laptops, pen tab, 3 internet connections, a power backup, internet connected to inverter supplies. So all of those, because my main objective is to be available. So these 3 factors varies, the importance of these factors varies from organization to organization. Okay, it's not like that all these 3 factors important. All are all varies from organization to organization. An organization will have controls around it. Like you have seen, I have put all my controls around availability. Similarly, for organizations like financial organization, integrity is important, so they will put all their controls around integrity. Okay, is it clear? Next is non-repudiation. Okay, what is non-repudiation? Non-repudiation is like don't let people deny their actions. Don't let people deny their actions. For example, I say one of my engineers had implemented the wrong change. I confronted her. She said, no, I didn't do it. Then I asked the backend team to provide me with the logs. Then, now with logs in hand, I again confronted her. Then she was not able to deny that. So that is what I would call as non-repudiation. Repudiation means when she was denying that thing. Another example, suppose your boss is drunk. I've seen people when they're drunk, even they don't like you, they want to hug you. Oh, I love you, I love you, I do that. You are very important and all. Suppose your boss is drunk. In a drunk state, he sends you an email about appreciation and promotion. Next day, she said, no, I didn't send it. But if email is digitally signed, then digitally signed means signed it using a seal which only you have in simplest manner. Suppose there is a seal which is specific or signature specific to him only, which only he should have. Then I can confront him that it is not anyone else, it is only you who has sent this data. So that is non-repudiation. The tools for non-repudiation, you can use digital signatures. I will cover that with you, don't worry, later on. Digital signatures, audit trails like the loggings and all, and secure timestamping. Okay, where you involve a trusted third party that creates a verifiable record, that exact time and digital record that it was created.